This video is sponsored by Unreal Engine. This is a little animation that I created almost 10 years ago in Unreal Engine 4. And this is Unreal Engine 5, a game engine that's light years ahead of anything that I had access to back in 2016. But this was made by a AAA team with a AAA budget. Can an independent artist like me really make something that rivals this quality? That's what we're gonna find out in this video. For Indie Games Week, Epic Games challenged me to put Unreal Engine 5 through its paces and try to make a AAA quality cinematic on just an indie budget. Now, to be honest, when I started this project, I was pretty skeptical, but despite the limitations, this animation turned out to be some of my best work yet. Whoa, dude, okay, that's pretty good. So here's what we're gonna do. Step 1, we need a plan. I have to figure out what this cinematic is even going to be about. So the first thing I did was I opened ChatGPT and asked it to write me a script. Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I used my brain and my fingers, and I wrote something that I thought would be kind of cool. The idea is that this could be a cutscene that plays right before a big in-game action sequence. Here's the gist. Our story will follow our hero who's entered this mysterious building looking for something. We have a goal. Now, I just need an obstacle. The room is empty. That's kind of strange. The thing he's looking for is supposed to be here. Wait, what's this? Why is this water dripping upward? Oh, I see. The whole room is actually on the ceiling? That's no problem for our hero. He can just cast a spell. Now he can walk on the ceiling. Nice. He's on the right track, and after a bit of searching, he finds what he's looking for, a chest. But wait, that was too easy. This story must just be poorly written. Well, he's suspicious of this chest, and rightfully so. But he's got a job to do, so reluctantly, he opens the chest. Oh good, it's not a trap. Oh wait, no, it is a trap. It's a monster. Cue the boss battle. So that's it, short and sweet. I'll probably change a little bit of it as we go, but it's a good start. So all that sounds really simple, right? But it's actually not. See, we need a few things. We need an environment, a character, animations, voices, the works. Luckily, this is why Unreal Engine is the best tool for the job. Let's start with the environment. All right, so I'm in Blender here, and I'm pretty much just gonna block out my room using like cylinders and planes and stuff. I know I wanna have this circular looking library room, so I'm gonna use a cylinder to try to block that out. And maybe we like have this like kind of step up a little bit. And maybe there's some beams that come across the top so that it'll have a little more vertical depth. Once I have the room laid out, it's time for me to move into Unreal Engine. It's nice because if you're developing a game using Unreal, it's completely free for the first 1 million in revenue, and it's only 5% in royalties after that. Now, I've never even seen $1 million in revenue across my entire career, so this is kind of great for me, and I'm considering my labor free on this one, so the cost so far remains $0. Once I got my building into Unreal Engine, it was time to start texturing. Fab has so many amazing assets, but most of my materials are coming from Megascans for this. Normally you'd have to spend time UV mapping and painting these walls in something like Substance Painter, but here is where the magic of nanite comes into play. These materials are world aligned, so I can just apply this plaster material to my walls here, and it should just scale properly. And even though there are like 4 polygons in this whole mesh, using nanite, I can displace the geometry as if it has thousands of polygons. You could stop there, but we're going for AAA here. Unreal Engine has really been developing their in-engine tools for moments exactly like this. I can go into modeling mode and remesh my 3-quad wall to give it much more geometry without having to go back to Blender. Now that I have that, I can use vertex painting to blend between several Megascans textures and hand paint some really cool blending effects. I want it to feel like a brick building that's been plastered over. The idea is that this building is pretty old though, so I'm just gonna paint some different parts where the bricks should poke through. I love working this way because it feels very artistically empowering. I get real-time feedback of how it's gonna look, and with nanite tessellation, it makes the basic cube I have feel like something that would have taken me days to sculpt and texture otherwise. This can all be done natively in Unreal, but I'm using a plugin called Easy Mapper, which makes this process a bit more streamlined. That's another nice thing about developing in UE. The community is massive, and there are so many tools and tutorials that people have made, so you can really fill in the gaps no matter what your skill set or background is. This add-on isn't free though, so I gotta throw that into the budget. Some of these textures are free on Megascans, but others are not, so I'll pull a few of those into the total as well. At the end of the video, I'll reveal just how much I spent, but for now, let's keep going. You've probably seen it by now, but I kept leaning on Megascans to help flesh out the building here. I pulled in these beams and stone to help the structure of the building feel a bit more real, and then I pulled in a few assets from Fab to start filling out the space. I found a couple fantasy room asset packs that had the exact aesthetic I was going for. They weren't free though, so it was definitely going into the budget. One of the packs had all these books too. I exported those out of Unreal and procedurally placed them along a curve on these bookshelves in Blender. Whoa, okay, those are not turned the right way. Okay, there we go, that's better. Okay, and then now I need like multiple rows. It's pretty close, but for some reason we have, if you can see here, we have like, these books are clipping through the wall here. So I think what I need to do is, I need to select the model and then tell the generator to remove the books that are close to those points. Nice, okay, dude. I'm kind of new to procedural generation, but this is really powerful. It would have taken me hours to put these here by hand. I was also able to make a couple piles using a similar method. It was nice because those very easily came back into Unreal, and I could just use the same material that I started with, and they just worked. From there, I just kept filling out the room with as many objects as I could, trying to imagine what the wizard who was living here did on a day-to-day basis. Maybe he studied books over here, or perhaps he mixed potions over there. Maybe he just sat at this table by himself to eat dinner all alone with no one. He's probably a really sad guy. Now, by this point, you might be asking yourself, wait, isn't this room supposed to be upside down? Why, yes, dear viewer, you are correct. All of this stuff should be, in fact, upside down. Once I had everything in place, I just had to select all the objects and turn them into a packed level instance. In Unreal, a level is basically a world where all your actors live, and I don't mean thespians. Actors are basically all the objects in your level. Well, what's nice is I can take all these objects that are supposed to be upside down, put them in their own level that's being referenced inside of this level, and then flip and mirror that so that they're all on the ceiling. After all that, all I had to do was fill in the bottom level with a few more fab assets, laying in a few decals on the floor, straight from Megascans, and we finally had a fully finished level for our story to take place in. Before I show you the finished environment really quick, I wanted to tell you about why this video exists. Unreal Engine sponsored this video for Indie Games Week, which is an online event taking place on unrealengine.com from April 13th through the 17th. If you go to unrealengine.com/events/Indie Games Week 2026, you can see developer interviews from inspiring indie teams and live streams to help you get started with your game dev journey. Make sure you go check that stuff out, go make some games and have some fun. Now back to the video. Now, I will say, maybe it's just me, but the environment definitely starting to feel a little AAA. I spent a little time lighting things just to get a feel for the space, and overall, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Using Lumen, I was able to get some really moody lighting without having to do any baking, and it all runs super smooth thanks to Nanite as well. Now, I was going for something super high-end on this, but luckily, if you do need to scale back for smaller platforms, UE makes it really easy to just dial back the scalability to tune your game to run on less powerful hardware. I'm aiming for 4K 30 FPS though, since I can't even do 60 FPS animations. I'm getting way more than that in cinematic settings though, so I'm just gonna keep moving forward. So speaking of animations, it was time to talk about voice acting and performance capture.
What if it's cursed?
When you're on an indie budget, sometimes you have to lean on your friends and ask for favors.
How's it look?
Luckily, when you've been working in entertainment for over a decade, you pick up a few world-class actors along the way who are more than happy to do you a solid.
You can handle a little curse.
We'll do like one run through, stop, start it again, another run through, stop. And then what we'll probably do is on the last one, we'll just get any like lines that we need specifically.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's corny as but I just want you to have the option.
I'm glad. Now, people deserve to be paid. Let me be clear. In no way am I advocating for people to always just work for free. But when your friends are creatives, you often work on each other's passion projects for free. And I guarantee you that if you are developing an indie project, you probably have access to a few friends who would be more than willing to help you out along the way. So in the spirit of the indie budget, I asked for favors and they were more than happy to oblige. For the lead, I asked my friend Sawyer to do the voice and facial performance. We used Metahuman Animator on an iPhone for this, and honestly, the results are kind of mind-blowing. This has always been the biggest hurdle for me on these kind of projects, and this completely free tool places it 100% in reach. If you want to see more of his work, you can check him out over on Yeah No Yeah, where he and his wife do these hilarious sketches. For the voice of Roza, the other character, I asked my friend Anna for help. You might know her as Brizzy Voices, but she absolutely killed her performance. Honestly, I was really blown away by what she was bringing to the table. With the voices in hand and a general feel for the environment in my brain, it was time to do the other super difficult part of this project, the body animations. So I know I ragged on AI pretty hard, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't an incredibly useful tool in some instances, and honestly, this is one of them. Body mocap has always been prohibitively expensive and out of reach for me on 99% of my projects. A few months ago, I had a call with the guys over at Metahuman AI, and they're trying to solve this problem at a price that is actually affordable. Now, I've seen a lot of AI mocap before, and honestly, most of the results are not that good, but I gotta say, this service is next level. Using 5 cameras, I acted out the scene in my kitchen. This is one of the downsides of my small LA apartment that I live in. It's kind of tough to get enough room to create a volume with multiple cameras, but even with that limitation, I was able to record several versions of the animations. And after choosing the best ones, I just uploaded that into Metahuman's service and waited a few minutes for it to come back. Let me tell you, the quality is like better than anything I've seen from AI. I definitely paid a little more than I intended, but this was mostly because I'm still learning the best methods to get the best results. But it still wasn't bad at all for what I got. This is kind of the AI that I want to exist. I gave it a performance and it gave me a 3D animation that's trying to match exactly what I did one-to-one. It doesn't make up or generate anything new, it just converts it to 3D points using only input video. That's amazing and that's super helpful. Now, it's not perfect, but for some reason, and no one ever tells you this, mocap is never perfect. Even the highest quality mocap animations need cleaning up. And that's where the other tool I use for this, Cascader, comes in. There is a free version, I think, but I'm using the paid version for this. Cascader basically makes it really easy to import your mocap, retarget that mocap onto another model, and then just clean it up and make adjustments to it. A lot of what I was doing in camera wasn't exactly what it needed to be, but that really didn't become clear until much later. Sometimes I'd need to go back and refine my own performance so that the timing would be a bit better and it would just feel a bit more lively. Cascader was essential for that. This was still a pretty time-consuming process, but hundreds of hours less than if I was doing it by hand, and it's way better than just using the raw mocap. Okay, so I have all my animations, but I'm still missing one thing, a character.
Okay, this is amazing. This is like the best metahuman I've seen. Like the best custom metahuman I've seen. You cannot tell it's a metahuman and it looks like an actual character. Would you be willing to let me use this in my animation? Because I need this thing. It's like amazing.
Oh, for sure, dude. I'm sure you'll do it justice in whatever you're doing. I've been loving the stuff you've been doing. But yeah, go for it, man. Happy to see it come to life.
I honestly, I'm really excited about this. This thing looks so cool.
I found Frankie through YouTube, and honestly, I'm so impressed with his work. And when Epic reached out, I knew he'd be the perfect guy to ask. Using the Metahuman creator, he was able to make a custom Metahuman. And using traditional pipelines, he created a wardrobe and was able to get it all back into Unreal Engine without too much of a headache. The best part is, since he made it from Metahumans, it totally works with Metahuman Animator, and I can retarget these animations in like 3 clicks. It used to take a lot longer than that, but as of 5.7, it's super easy to retarget stuff. I know that some will say that this is cheating when on an indie budget, but Fab has really high quality Metahuman characters for very affordable prices, so I felt like this was an acceptable solution for my challenge. There's a bunch more to talk about on this, but if you're interested in learning about character creation for games, I highly recommend checking out Frankie's channel. He has a wealth of tutorials that makes it all make sense. Now that I had everything I needed, it was time to put it all together. I opened up Sequencer and started laying down my shots. One by one, I assembled each shot in my edit. I layered my animation and placed cameras throughout my scene. Some of the cameras were animated by hand, but I do have this plugin called Black Eye that is absolutely amazing for creating cool camera moves like this. The whole process, though, was honestly a test of patience because a lot of it really is just trying stuff out and refining it. Sometimes I try out different camera angles or camera moves and then realize that my animation just wasn't quite matching. For some reason, I was also getting this really weird issue where my hands weren't rotating properly, but that was easy enough to fix with Control Rig after the fact. Plus, as good as the Metahuman animator was, it was no substitute for having a real actor in a real space. So I had to go in manually and animate on top of all the animations that were already there. Again, only in the last few versions of Unreal were you able to do this. The fact that I can continue to refine my animations or fix issues by baking them to Control Rig and precisely dialing them in while looking through the camera makes it so much easier to get exactly what you're going for. Things like eye lines and head movements were probably 60% hand animated, but honestly, it probably only took up a small portion of my labor hours. It was definitely within reach and worth it for me in order to get it to feel just right. From here out, it really was just my own time and skill that were limiting me. Now, I wasn't going to go too crazy on the effects, but I needed a couple things to make this work. I needed a magic spell, and I needed some water droplets falling upward. I was able to use Unreal Engine's Niagara system to design those fairly easily. There's a few presets that it comes with that are usually a good starting point, and Niagara isn't very expensive to render, so I always try to use that when I'm doing VFX. Once I got to a good place where all my animations were feeling pretty good, it was time to animate the lighting. Now, I know not everyone does this, and honestly, if you're doing an indie game, this might not be something that's worth doing for you. but I wanted to get as close to AAA quality as possible, so I went through each shot and animated lights on and off in order to make it pop. I come from the live action world, so it's really common to change lighting between shots. From there, the last thing I needed to do before going to sound design is to find some sort of monster for my magic chest. I knew that I wanted a mimic for this, at least that's the idea of the monster, that's what it was based on. I thought about making it myself, but honestly, I was starting to stress about time a little bit. At this point, I was over 70 hours in, and I still had to write, shoot, and edit the video you're watching right now before the deadline. So I went to Fab, and honestly, there are so many good artists out there who are making some really cool assets. I found this one, which did feel a bit outside of my art style, but sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. The animations were really high quality, so I figured that it was worth it. I'm sure someone will have an issue with it, but hey, you can't win them all. With my mimic monster in place, all that was left was to find some sound to go in this bad boy.
Hi.
It's always okay to ask your girlfriend for free labor, especially when you live together, because when you give her money, it's like giving yourself money, because she pays rent or buys grocery with it, which you share anyways, so yeah. The point is, get a girlfriend and ask her to make some music for your game. While she worked on that, I just needed to throw in some sound effects in my space to make it feel a bit more alive. I usually pull most of my sound design from this app called Soundly, so that's what I did here. I just laid those in a sequencer, dropped my music in, and it was all ready to go. It was time to hit add to movie render queue and show the world what I made. But before I do that, I know you're probably wondering, how much did I spend on all this? In total, Fab assets and plugins cost me around $255 US. The plugins specifically can be used over and over again though, so once you buy them, it's not like you have to re-buy them for every project. Honestly, the Mimic chest was $150 of that. If I had written something different, I could have saved around half of those costs. For the rest of it, Mimum AI was around $100 for all those animations. I did already own a lot of the cameras I was using, so I'm not including that in the price, but you can use your phone or webcam to record the video, and you only need around 3 cameras for the best results. For cleanup, Cascader is $50 a month. There is a cheaper indie tier, but you can't retarget, so I needed to use the pro tier for that one. Overall, not including labor, I spent well under $450 for this project. I could have spent less if I used only default Unreal Engine tools and free assets, but luckily now that I own the assets, I could go back and make the animation much longer because I already bought all the assets. That number is all well and good though. It's time to see if it was money well spent. Was I able to achieve AAA quality on just an indie budget? I'll let you be the judge.
How's it look?
Definitely abandoned. Are you sure this is the right place?
I'm sure. It has to be there somewhere. Keep looking.
Think I found it.
Great. Now, go open it.
Yeah, okay, give me a moment.
Well,
What if it's cursed?
oh, you can handle a little curse. Well, was it cursed?
Thank you guys so much for watching. Overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. To be honest, I don't think I achieved quite AAA quality, but I don't think that's a limitation of the budget or the tools, just a limitation on the time I was able to commit to this project. I do think it's solid AA quality though, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks again to Epic for sponsoring this video. I hope this one has inspired you to go and try your hand at making some cool things on your own. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.